All right, so in this video, I'm going to go over what it truly means to be a hero. I'm going to go over point 8. There's another point, and there's other reasons why they choose hell, but these are the main reasons I see. Okay. The true spirit of love is a heroic spirit, and this is why they've gone to such great lengths to make a mockery of martial arts, to confuse you about what real martial arts are, to confuse you about what African martial arts are, to confuse you about, with the idea that all people are equal. They're not equal. Not all African cultures are equal. Some people are morally sound. Some people fight for honor as with an accompanying moral code, and some people fight for honor as in terms of reputation, like a bunch of rich elite ninnies. So, an intense and real, right? Not fake, not Hollywood, not propaganda based, an intense and real masculine, heroic love spirit. It's pure, intense, and it shows the true spirit of God, righteous indignation, which is what happens when God's spirit clashes with the world. For you to have love, God is love. It must come from God. Even the Greeks saw it that way. They just reinvented who God was. They made a bunch of rape cult, gender-neutral ninnies like Zeus, who was a pedophile, raping Ganymede, and all these people changing forms to abuse people. Okay, so the true spirit of God is righteous indignation. It doesn't approve of this world. It's going to come as, I don't approve of this world, and I'm serious. I'm in the true spirit of God. I'm walking with God. I'm focused. Righteous indignation. What they're doing is wrong, wrong, wrong. I have no part of it. That's closer to the true spirit of God. He doesn't put up with it. I mean, he makes love, right? He makes love with the true passion. Not some kind of illusion, propaganda, right, left, bitch shit. I am seriously adverse to this worldly garbage. I train to send. I plan to leave here. And if you love me, you are going to leave here with me to go through the sun gate to heaven. And when we make love, it is divine. Everyone else's is profane. They have no right to call that bitch shit that they do love. So again, I went through the first... I went through the first 7, so here's the 8th. Why do they choose hell and not this love? I talked about colonists, survivors, what resonates with people, nurture and torture, pride, African, the misrepresentation of the African argument I'm making. Okay, what it means to be shallow. I went over Wall L.A., Wall the God, the true spirit of God, the Alpha spirit. Okay. The wordplay of African, let's go over it real quick. Of, if, ra, kin. You're really an African. We're all supposed to be Africans. Why would you define yourself as something else? Why would you stop it here or there or over there? Why not define yourself as the source of your ancestors? You're saying all my ancestors were cool until they were African. It's stupid. That's stupid. You see how it's false pride. It should be your descendant, right? It should be a descending order. First and foremost, it is the African ancestors that should come first. Why don't you see it that way? Because you've fallen out of grace. You don't want to accept the point where God conveyed the true spirit and made man human. Instead, you cling on to some man-made idea of a nation or a race or something. Certainly, people like that cannot have love. They have to abandon that lie, how they reinvent themselves. They're saying, I'm a little unicorn, and then they're mad at the liberals for doing the same thing. They're saying, when they start saying, I'm a kangaroo, they're basically responding to your madness. You have first said, I'm a European, and now they're like, well, if he can be a white person instead of an African, which is where humans became humans, I'm a fucking little teapot, and everyone's fucking crazy. But me. So, if Ray Khan, if you are the ray that has left the source, you are the con man. With a racial supremacy, so to speak, con plan. With a political supremacy, with a culture-based supremacy that is not the true culture of God, the alpha culture of the martial art order that truly civilized humanity. So going backwards, to know somebody, know core, foe. Okay? If the core is your foe, if you think the core should pay you a fee, should grovel at your feet while you pretend you're special. I'm this and I'm that. and reinvent yourself like mental health pussies, then you are not a human. African can be seen as synonymous with the word human. The martial artist's authoritative utterance. Okay, and I don't want to get loud like this, but make a long story short, I use the example, and don't confuse it with a magic spell, mind you, of Ra, Ka, Ba, Ka. What am I saying? It's the idea that I'm referring to. They're in La La Land reinventing themselves. I'm referring to the true idea and connecting with it. Ra is the source, the strength, the martial arts source of power, the true source of God, love, and righteous indignation, fighting for the highest cause. If someone is not fighting for the highest cause, they're at a disadvantage. We all should know that on some level. It reminds me of the old lady that picked up a car, as the story goes, to save her kid. Is it possible? Yes. Why? Because when you have the highest cause, you're conveying this spirit, okay, is the idea. Now, even in the form of energy, it can be seen as possible. Do I believe she was in the martial art order? No. Do I believe she was in the true spirit of God? No. Do I believe she was triggering parts of her brain that have to do with similar parts that God triggers? Yes. Okay. So this leads us to Biafra, right? Biafra, right? It's the sun, right? Why is there red, black, and green? Because even the Igbos have traitors. Some Igbos sided with the government during the war. Some Igbos help them gang stalk me even now. Are there traitors? Yes. Is it stupid to define your flag in terms of what you want it to be, not in terms of what it is? Yes. In reality, there's red team bitch, there's green team. I'm just trying to make my tribe. I'm trying to have our flesh in this world as long as I can. Whatever, sex, whatever it is, food and survival, just bitches. Right? And there's black. Let's just cover things up so we can get along with everybody. Stupid. Even in the West Bible, with all their hypocrisy, mind you. It said, declare the glory of God from the roofs. You put a lamp on the stand, not under a bed. All right. And obviously, they make me, they do things in a way where I talk that way. That's not who I am. That is the Western preaching kind of Malcolm X style. It's not me. They're using technology in ways you'd be an idiot not to believe. But because people are such cowards, if I even start to explore this technology, they'll mistake true, they'll start saying he's a conspiracy theorist or something. Everything I talk about in the videos is something by far that you should see it my way or you're an idiot. If I start bringing up technology that there isn't quite enough evidence that it exists, then I'll take away from that. That's one of the main reasons I don't do that. All right. Barriers. Bore, eye, ears. Ba, ra, ears, yours. Okay. So one of the forms of Set was a boar, right? Boar, hippo, snake, jackal. Okay. Turtle, according to some. And it has to do with his relationship with Apep, I believe. They're both deities of chaos. Set basically, when Set was basically a bitch. Set represents a sniveling, whiny coward that doesn't want to accept the martial art order. So he basically starts using Apep's snake methods to cheat Horus, especially because of females. Now, for the last 5,000 years, the attractive female has been of the utmost importance. And if she betrays God, then man is lost. Make a long story short, she betrayed God, man is lost. Instead of dying, instead of being his baby mama, she chose to live. Instead of dating the hero, she chose the serpent. She chose the boar. She chose the hippo. She chose the scum. Incidentally, Pablo Escobar is said to have bred hippos in Colombia. Interesting fact. All right. So, obviously this goes back to the wordplay with har-ware, hair war, her war. And also, when we look at, we can remove the H and turn the R and A around, and we get ra-ware. Where? Well, what have the Egyptians always been talking about? You've heard me say it a million times. The heart is the seat of intelligence. In the center, the heart of Africa, you have Biafra, where the leopard roams. The leopard is the cat, or the true Ka, Leopard, the spirit, Pord of Heliopolis. All right, Ra's call center. So, okay, so basically there's certain barriers, right? You say, well, why don't black people stand with me? Because some black people aren't as gifted as I am, mind, body, soul, and they don't have a relationship with the spirit. And they collab with other races that are more like them. Africans are the most diverse people if you group them together as such, black Africans. And therefore, Some of them are more like other peoples for various reasons. Some of them live closer to the Middle East, for example, the Semites. Some live closer to North Africa, closer to Europeans, and so on and so forth. And since these guys aren't chosen by God to be the leaders, they collaborated with the rest of the world and helped them suppress the true voice of God. All right. They are fanatically and extremely wrong. They are far from worthy bloodlines as a result. What they've done is extreme. It's funny how they talk about extremism and religious fundamentalism and fanaticism. And psychiatry is basically a religion if you really break it down for what it really is and who believes what and why and who do they listen to and so on and so forth. Okay. Also, you know, it is an Egyptian religion that is at the heart of their culture, and they are reacting fanatically and insanely in an extremely sick manner to the martial art order. All right. So, also when we look back at my journey, okay, I'll end this by saying this. It kind of gives away the barriers. I'm somebody who's interacted with thousands and thousands and thousands of people on and off the internet with an emphasis on researching love. Why don't people have it? Why don't females see me for who I am? You know, as the top martial artist, I consider myself the main expert on human nature and human behavior, okay, and why people do what they do. Because I see their inner G, so to speak. I see them for who they really are. Why don't they see God for what God really is and obey them and put God before their families? Why don't attractive women love me? Why do they think it's smart to find their lives and to contribute to the New World Order and Babylon system when it is pointed out by so many different religions, you know, Buddhism, Christianity, Rastafarian, you know, all these different groups are saying, don't be a stupid gold-digging bitch. Don't be a Babylonian whore. Don't contribute to Babylon's system. Don't be part of the New World Order. You know, Bush is mocked to the extreme. People say Bush is a scumbag to the extreme, and one of the things that rings the loudest is his New World Order speech. It's all over the internet, all kinds of people taking shots at him, and we have all these attractive women rolling with it. Mental health, right? You know, all these stupid attractive women rolling with mental health and drugging people and pretending like they're making a difference. Why are women so sick where they cause so much harm, and attractive women especially, and pretend like they're helping people? Okay, so as I looked at this thing, I studied, and for the last 2.5 decades at least, I've been looking at this thing, and I've been talking, I've been spilling my heart to them, I've been reaching out to them, I've been breaking them down, working the angles. Angels work the angles. Okay, and so I look back at when I used to be with a female across the world. She was Greek. She was gorgeous. Okay, I had this old hat with a blue beanie, right, with my shirt off. I'm looking like more handsome than any R&B guy I've ever seen. You know, great shape. Handsome, you know, the ideal. Right? A woman should see this guy and say, I want his soft touch. I want his caress. I want his love, right? And then I had, you know, a picture with her and said, true love. And I had this blue picture, you know, this blue beanie, a picture similar to that, you know, for several years on MySpace and so on. It's different dating sites. I've walked around in various forms and outfits, and I'm looking at this thing, and I looked a lot better back then than I do now, okay? And I'm like, why are they so shallow? Why do they choose money over this thing? I'd rather have one day with my true love, with a truly loving person, than a lifetime as a rich bitch bragging about how normal I am, how the nice things I have. Why are they so stupid? Why do they miss life? And in their own, you know, a lot of these people are in secret societies. They know that what they're doing makes them dead inside. They dress up like the Addams Family. They show skull imageries on their pages. They have all this imagery that reflects that they know they're dead. They wear like Halloween outfits with the skeletons, and when it's not Halloween, they know that they're dead. Why do they prefer being dead? Right. And so when I go over this list of reasons, right, the colonist, the survivor, what resonates them, nurture and torture, pride, shallow, what it means to be African, barriers, right? You know, at the end of the day, what they're doing is so extremely pathetic, so extremely nonsensical, that it must be a result of being an ill-gotten gain fanatic, having, you know, just broken brain function. Their brain is wired to be stupid. You know, there's no simple answer for this. These are the main answers, but it's just the simple answers are sick and they're deranged. It's a long, complex explanation, and you know, at the end of the day, they're sick and they're never going to get better. You know, the only way to get better is to be redeemed. They're going to just immerse themselves in more illusion to try to escape the reality of anything. but they can only start to be better if they go to the Prince of all men, the King of Kings, to be redeemed in the true Spirit of God.